Alright, hello, my name is Danny, and today I would like to demonstrate my Node Nexus project. So basically, Node Nexus is a lightweight socket-based server that I wrote in C. It implements a lot of custom in-memory database I designed myself in order to manage file systems properly. I used a lot of systems programming concepts in order to complete this project. It has user authentication, safe and secure with SHA-256 hashing algorithm. It also uses a tree-based data structure, and I'll explain more of that, how it looks later on in the video. And finally, in order to keep the storage persistent, I use binary serialization to basically flatten out all the data structures so that when the server shuts down, I can write it to a file called database.dat. I chose not to use a traditional database like SQLite or MySQL or Postgres simply because I wanted to build and showcase the ability to handle a low-level concepts and memory management. Of course, this database was designed to be thread safe. It plays well with concurrency using memory map and mutex locks in order to make sure we don't get tripped up with race conditions and overwriting or segmentation faults, etc. Alright, so basically just an overview. We have a server running, listening on a port of your choice. Now by default, it's automatically port 8000. I don't know why I picked that number, but you can choose any port you like by typing in that port number as an argument to running the program itself. For example, /Nexus 4800. Then it'll be running on 4800. So once it's up and running, any client can connect to it all at the same time. Now I set a limit to 10 clients max simply because right now I wanted to keep everything simple and small, but of course it can scale up. The client can then register, log in, create a new folder, traverse the database directories, add a new file into a folder, or view any existing file or folder, or delete, etc. A user can even save a file by just echoing the command save name of the file to the server and then redirect it to be saved on their own machine. Now every time the server is booted up, it looks for an admin password that you can save in the environment, and then it'll create a new admin user with that password. So then only you would be able to log in as an admin and kick out users or delete the entire database, etc. And I know this is called a database, but I guess a more accurate description is just a block of data, a block of memory, pretty much, that was allocated by mmap that's shared. So this way, with the proper mutex locking mechanism, multiple clients can then edit and get data from this database, while the rest of the clients can also see the changes in real time. So very quickly, let's look at how the database works. It's basically a tree structure with every single node symbolizing a folder. So like the blue and the square is a folder, and every single leaf is a file. So a leaf is the circle with the red font. Each node can have a children node, meaning that this is a subdirectory inside of this folder. And then each node can also have siblings, which means that it's other folders that's also a child of the parent node. And then of course, each leaf can only be connected to one single node, since a file can only be existing in one folder at a time. So for this example, the node root has 4 children: users, media, miscellaneous, and etc. And image is a node that exists inside of media, and others is also a node that exists inside of media. And for example, cat.jpg is a file, aka a leaf, that exists inside of image, as well as video1.mp4 is a file that exists inside of media. Now finally, let's look at how the database is able to stay persistent without the use of a traditional service like SQLite or Postgres. Basically, every time that the server shuts down, It checks to see if the database has been modified since the last time it was built. And if the answer is yes, it would then go through the serialization process. Basically, it will flatten out every single data structure, for example, users, node, leaves, and then write it all in a binary file that would then be saved on the server as database.dat. For example, it will see how many users exist on the database. For example, in this case, 3. It will write down 3. And then it will crawl through the data structure linked list and flatten out all 3 of those users' information and serialize it. It'll do the same thing with the root node and then recursively traverse inside each child and sibling node as well as the leaves in order to complete this process. And then when the server is booted up again, it will check to see if there's a database.dat file in memory. And if yes, it'll deserialize it, basically translating the binary gibberish into data structures and then store it in the appropriate hierarchy of the file system. Alright, and then now I'm going to show you how to download the repo from my GitHub brink of second bailout at Node Nexus and run the program yourself. So first, let's get the link to the repository. Go ahead and copy that. Open up Ubuntu. I'm using a WSL. Keep in mind this program is written in Linux. So we're going to do git clone, paste, and I'm going to name it Node Nexus demo as the folder. Oops. Permission denied, sudo, bang. Okay. Done. So now we have the folder available. We're going to go ahead and cd in. Nice. Let's go into the source folder, and then now we can get started. Alright guys, so all the build instructions and how to run the program, everything has been listed out to be pretty easy to follow along. Of course, you're going to have to sudo apt update and install all of these dependencies. Of course, I already have it in my environment, in my path, so I don't need to do it again, but you will have to do that. And we already did this step here, git clone, cd. Now, the next thing you have to do is to make sure you check the ownership of your directory. For example, if I go here, let's see, ls ld dot. So as you can see, I'm logged in as Danny, and I have permission to read and write and execute. But if you didn't, if this was, let's say, if this was saying root, for example, then you would have to change that to something like this, or Danny dev 89, Danny dev 89 dot, and that would change your ownership for that directory. That way that you can read and write into your system. You give the program permission to do that, and so the database.dat file can be saved after the server gets shut down, so that the storage can remain persistent. Next up, you're going to have to export the Node Nexus admin password into your environment variable. I'm not going to make it persistent, so I'm not going to do these two steps because I already have a password set for my own account already, but I'll do it for this one. So let's see, export Node Nexus admin password, and let's just do it, let's just say test. Okay, so let's check to make sure we got that right. Nice. Okay, so then that's going to be the password for your admin account, and the program will automatically look for that with the get nv function and create an admin account for you. Okay, so now let's go ahead and run the program. But first of all, we're gonna have to compile the program. I already have a make file here available for you guys with all the proper objects and flags, and it's gonna come out and save an executable as Nexus, and that's going to be what you're going to use to run your program, so you don't have to do anything. You could of course do the GCC route, or you can use clang, but since the make file is already there, I recommend you just use it. So sudo make, sorry, go ahead, sudo clear. Let's clean it first. Make clean, sorry, and then sudo make. It should have no problem compiling, and then now we're ready to go. Okay. you're gonna go /nexus, and like I said, if you leave this blank, it will be listening on port 8000. Now keep in mind these two files that I have, the testnexus.sh and the testnexus2.sh, which is the two test files that I have written in the shell script. It's by default it's gonna go to port 8000. So if you're gonna change this, like for example, if you're gonna do, let's say, port 4500, you're gonna have to go in and modify the two port numbers for those two test files if you want to use them. But for now, I'm going to keep it as a default. Okay, so oops, let's see, go back, sorry. I'm going to go ahead and, for the sake of the demonstration, I'm going to delete the database.dat file so that we can start fresh. Okay, all right, now that we're up, no such file because there's no database.dat. We initialized a new database. The user admin was added with the password that we added earlier, which is, what's it called, test. And then now it's listening on port 8000. Nice. All right, so now let's go ahead and get a client and localhost 8000. Boom, we're in. And as you can see, it recognized that there were a client process ID 601, incoming connection 1 out of 10. Like I said, there's a maximum of 10 clients at a time that can connect to the database, to the server at one time, okay? So we're here. We're gonna go ahead and see what the help is all about. These are all the commands that are available for Node Nexus. You can check them out. Register user, password. It'll register, of course, the password will be hash with SHA-256 for security, and then you can log back in. You can change the password, you can log out, you can type in tree in order to print out the entire directories of every single folder and file that there is in this database. You can create a new folder with new dir and the name of the folder. You can go back to root. You can ask what the current folder is, like a pwd in Linux. You can jump to a particular folder. You can add a file here, of course, with the proper flag for string, for int, for a binary file, or if you want to just put in a file path so that it can upload that file. You can also open a file or folder. You can save a file and then destroy, aka delete, a file or directory, and then exit the program. And if you're an admin, you can log in as an admin. You can see all the registered users. You can banish a user, meaning you can delete a user. This is a beta function that I'm working on using AI to gauge the sentiment of a text file. And then you can boot a user, meaning you can force them to log out, or you can boot all user, meaning you're going to force everyone to log out except for yourself, of course. And then nuke, which is deleting all files and directories, completely setting everything starting from scratch. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and register some user, Danny BJJ. Nice. So then I can log out. Let's register another person, Lindsay, let's see, Bible password. Nice. Okay, now let's log in, register Sean, skate. Okay, nice. So we have 3 users now registered. Let's go ahead and make some folders. We're gonna do, let's see, right now there's nothing, just the root folder. We're gonna do new dir, let's say users, right? Boom, and then we can go back to root, new dir, let's say media, and go back to root, new dir, let's see, miscellaneous. Of course, you can jump into any folder. You can also add a leaf. Let's see if I want to go jump to, I use user, boom, we can add a leaf here, add file. Let's see, how do we do that again? Go to add file, the name of the directory. I can use cur and then the file name, okay? Cur, file name is going to be all users, right? And then we're going to set a flag as string. Is that how we did that? Type, yeah, type is the flag, yep. And then we'll click yep. It will ask us to enter the string, and so far we're going to name all of the users that we have currently, which is Danny, Sean, and then Lindsay. Boom. So as you can see, everything has been properly saved in the storage. And now if you go ahead and create another client, and we're going to connect to the server right now from a different client. Let's see, 8000. And if you go ahead and click tree, it'll show all the proper directories and leaves and nodes here as well. So if I go here and I register, let's say Daniel doc, right? So then I'm here, I'm registered as Daniel. I can create a new directory, let's say in the root folder, new dir. Let's do etc. Boom. I'm gonna go back to this client and bam, just like that, everything is live. Like I said, we're just modifying one single block of memory, and everyone using mutex lock can modify and then get data from that directory, from that memory simultaneously. All right, and then also if you want to add another client here, so this should be the third or the fourth? The third. Okay, let's see. We'll go NC 127 8000. Boom, connected. This is the fourth, the third. Okay, so this is the third client. I'm gonna go ahead and log in as admin. Okay, let's hope this works. Nice. Okay, so as you can see, the test password that we set earlier in the environment, the program created an admin account for us with the test password. Okay, so then now we can use some admin. We can do some admin commands here. Users. We'll list all the users here. Total users 5. Whichever one's offline, whichever one's online. Let's see. Sean is online. I'm gonna go ahead and boot him off. Boot Sean. User Sean has been logged out. Where was he at? Was he right here? Where was he at? Right. I think he was right here, right? Yeah, this was Sean earlier. So now I'm gonna try to create a new folder. Boom, it won't let him because he's logged out. Just to show that it works. Okay, so now in order to shorten this up, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm not gonna demonstrate it like one by one anymore. I'm gonna go and run the test nexus.sh file, and it's gonna run a list of command that I already have pre-made for you guys to test out. So let's go ahead and log out of this, or just exit, or it doesn't matter. You can just Control C. Alright guys, so let's get a fresh instance of the program running so that we can run the test nexus and test nexus2.sh file to make sure that we have all the functionalities working instead of going over them one command at a time. So let's go Nexus. Now keep in mind, like I said, it's configured to go to port 8000. So if you're gonna change this, if you're gonna add a different port here, make sure that you change it in the test files as well, because it's written to go to 8000. So I'm gonna keep it the way it is. Boom, running a new instance, no existing database, initialize a new database, user admin added, cool. Now let's open up a new terminal here, have a new client, and we're gonna cd into C project / no nexus demo, cd into src. And keep in mind, you're gonna have to make sure that the test nexus and test nexus 2 has the correct permission to execute. So we're gonna do sudo chmod +x test nexus.sh, and we're gonna do the same thing for test nexus 2. Boom. Now it's green, it's ready to go. Let's go ahead and run it. Test nexus.sh. And now you can see it's running. It's registering a bunch of users. It's logging in, logging out, adding new files to folders, adding new folders, new nodes, new leaves, deleting files, deleting folders. All of these logs are going to be saved in a test output.txt file, so you can check it out afterwards to make sure everything is working correctly. And then as you can see, this is the admin user being logged in, and he's checking out all the users that's available. He's booting them out. He's using the classify beta AI functionality that I spoke about earlier. And then finally, he deleted all of the files and folders by using a nuke command. Okay, and just to test it out, we're gonna go ahead and exit out of the server right now. We're gonna close it down by Control C, which is a sig kill. And as you can see, it's gonna save the database. Let's see. Boom. Now you can see the database.dat file has been saved. That means that it's serialized correctly. And if we run it again, it's gonna verify that there was 6 users the last time that it was up. And that's Daniel, Danny, Sean, Lindsay, Irv, admin. All of their password had been hashed. And then also it serialized all the nodes correctly, all the leaves correctly, and now it's back up again. So we can go ahead and run the second instance of our our test file, which is test nexus 2. Let's see, sh. Boom, now we're running. It's registering more people. It's logging in as Danny again. It's adding more folders just to make sure everything's working. So if we add a new client, let's go ahead and go to 127.0.0.1.8000. Look at the tree. As you can see, everything is back up and everything is syncing correctly across different terminals and different clients. And of course, finally, when we exit, Control C, it's going to save the database once again. And as you can see, if we run the program one more time, boom, now we got a different user logged in. Now it's 7 users, and of course they have all the new nodes and leads that was added on the test nexus2.sh file has been successfully added as well. So that's that, guys. That's the program, and I hope that was helpful. Keep in mind that I do have a live deploy application on request. If you need to see how it's ran, you can let me know and I'll turn the server on and you can go ahead and SSH into it from anywhere. Okay, thank you so much. Have a great day.